Coming up, special guests and features, updates from around campus, a first word from Coach Freeze, a look around Auburn athletics, and a check of the day's action across college football, featuring Ronnie Brown, voice of the Tigers Andy Burcham, Jason Campbell, and Brad Law. Now, the host of the Tiger Tailgate Show, Paul Ellen.
Among the unique aspects of college football are the icons of the game. The Stanford Tree, the Orange Fuzzball of Syracuse, or Ralphie the Buffalo at Colorado. These icons fuel the energy and support of their fans. The icon of today's opponent is a smelly, loud, untrainable animal that if you don't watch out will relieve themselves on your furniture. And so will their dog. The passions of Auburn fans are powered by two of the most special icons in sports. Albie, the top-ranked animated character of all sports mascots, along with a live creature, the American Eagle that fuels the battle cry. Just before today's game, the symbol of America will fly high around Jordan-Hare Stadium before diving to the 50-yard line for a pregame snack. Hello again, everyone. War Eagle, and welcome to another Saturday of Auburn Tiger football. It began in Piedmont Park in Atlanta in 1892, and we're set for the 128th renewal of the South's oldest football rivalry. Now it's time for the first word from the Auburn locker room. Here's Andy Burcham with head coach Hugh Freeze.
What do you want to see with regard to Peyton as far as his response from last week to today?
Poise in the pocket, and when you have a chance to make a throw, we've got to hit them. And obviously there's time to throw it away, and check downs are your best friend. And particularly against teams like this, it's okay. We can't force the issue. We don't need you to try to force balls, but starts with poise in the pocket. I thought we were a little lacking on that last week, not just with him, but with the other quarterbacks also. And we've worked on that this week, and hopefully that shows also in the game. But you know, if we get a chance to hit an explosive play, we got to make those. We're not quite at the level where we can miss those all the time and still have success.
Listen for Andy's complete conversation with Coach Freeze 30 minutes prior to kickoff, presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama. Well, welcome to the Auburn-Georgia game. We're outside Jordan-Hare Stadium counting it down. About 3 hours from kickoff right now. Paul Ellen with Andy Burcham, Ronnie Brown, and Jason Campbell. And Andy, you know, one of the things you get about this game is the history of the game. We get caught up in the present so many times, but this game has so much history, from going back to John Heisman and Charlie Trippi on their side, and Shook Jordan and Vince Dooley, all the way to the present.
Well, and let's add Coach Dye to that mix as well. I mean, so many connections between the two schools, and for so many years, this rivalry, teams won on the opponent's home field regularly. Now, of late, Georgia has dominated this series. I mean, Auburn's last win here was 2017. You go back before that, of course, the miracle at Jordan-Hare in 13. And that's one thing that Auburn's going to try and do now with Hugh Freeze as the head coach. He's trying to bring in the recruits that will be on par with the Georgia, which has been among the best in recruiting since Kirby Smart was there, and even before that.
Ronnie, you were a guy who grew up a little bit with this rivalry, although you weren't really a part of it. You were never considering Georgia. You picked between other schools, but certainly you knew going up in Cartersville what the intensity of this rivalry was.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You know, and I had an older cousin who played running back at Georgia. And so, you know, I knew a lot about them. I also, you know, watched a lot of Garrison Hurst. I wore number 20 in high school. He was number 20, was a great running back. But, yeah, when you say that it came down to me, it came down to Tennessee and Auburn. You know, because they didn't recruit me, you know, hard early in that process. And so I had narrowed my options down to that. But certainly aware of this rivalry, you know, Auburn and Georgia and what they bring to the table. It's always going to be a hard-fought game. You talk about, Jason, when we were, you know, back in early 2000s, you know, the teams that they had, the guys they had at the defensive line, the Richard Seymours, the safeties that they had, Greg Blue, and, you know, all of those guys. They had big guys. Their safeties looked like linebackers. And so, you know, with this game, like Coach Freeze said, you got to have to be solid, you know, across the board. When you got opportunities, you got to make sure that you make the best of those, because you just don't know how soon or how early and often those opportunities may be given.
Hey, Jason, it didn't take long your redshirt year to really realize what this rivalry was like.
Yeah, this rivalry is, to me, it's the one that everyone circles in the summertime. You know the date that you're going to play it. It used to be played in November, which we like, but now it's kind of still trying to get right. You're still trying to get used to this game being, in September and early October. It still just kind of feels off to me. But overall, though, you always understand that this game is a game that usually you have to win to make it to the SEC championship.
Yeah.
It's usually the game that sets up the one against Alabama.
And Ronnie talked about opportunities, and Auburn had opportunities last week and didn't take advantage of the opportunities. The wheel route to Jay Fair, they had Fromm open for about a 25-yard gain and didn't get it there. And time again, Auburn was getting the ball into A&M territory, but never got the ball down to the red zone, the Chick-fil-A red zone in this ball game. When you get those opportunities, especially in a game like today, you have to take advantage. And Auburn didn't do that a week ago down at College Station.
Yeah, you definitely got to take advantage of those opportunities, because you think last week, like even when Eugene got the interception, the fumble interception, and takes it back for a touchdown, that game is 12 minutes to go in the game. You're now switching the momentum. It's a 10-point game. And then we get the ball back, and we go down to the 25-yard line. And with our kicker, McPherson, you almost figure, okay, we got a guaranteed 3.
Right, yeah.
But then we knock ourselves out of field goal range with the holding calls and with the sack. And then next thing you know, you're having to punt the ball with 6 minutes to go in the game rather than getting at least 3 on the board. And now it's a 7-point game with all the momentum swinging our way. And anything can happen in the last couple of minutes of that game, because now the pressure goes onto their offense. And we wasn't able to flip the pressure last week and put it on A&M. They was able to play comfortable most of that game. Andy,
you talked to the head coach a lot this week. Looking back, only 1 or 2 true RPO calls offensively last week.
And the head coach wasn't happy about that at all.
I expect you're going to see a little more melding of the Montgomery and Freeze offenses this week.
I don't think there's any question. Now, what exactly that turns into, I do know this. There will be more RPO opportunities for Auburn. If there isn't, it's a problem for the Tigers. Hugh Freeze talked about it with Brad and I Thursday night.
Yeah.
He made it pretty plain.
Yeah.
There will be RPO opportunities in this ball game for the Auburn Tigers with whomever is out there at quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say, so with that being said, does that present more opportunities that we've been talking about? I think that's the topic of the day is, will we see more Robbie Ashford if we're going to see more RPO stuff because of having the threat to run? I think Peyton can run as well effectively enough, but do we see a series here or there with Robbie Ashford at the helm trying to get a little bit more action? And, I think just kind of go back to what you guys were talking about earlier, it's important for 2 reasons as well to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. 1, because you need some confidence as an offense, but then 2, you're at home. So that's how you get your home crowd, which in my opinion, this is probably as hard, if not the hardest stadium to play in when you get everyone on your side. And, I think it was a clip that was showed earlier in this week where, Nolan that used to play with Georgia is at the Philadelphia Eagles now, was talking about this was the hardest environment for him to play in as the linebacker at Georgia.
And piggybacking on what you and Andy said, Ronnie, the main thing about playing at home is you want to get ahead.
Yeah, first quarter is really important in this game.
Today we've got to start fast. We've struggled our last 2 Power 5 opponents. We've struggled starting the game off in the first quarter and the beginning of the third quarter.
And you've got to be decisive at quarterback. Right. And there were times last week where Auburn was tentative in the pocket, and Auburn paid the price for that.
Well, that's the key with RPOs, Andy.
Yes.
RPOs is the ball got to come out fast if you choose to pass the ball, because if you hold it, you get linemen downfield. So a quarterback has got to make quick decisions. He's got to be instinct about what he wants to do pre-snap.
Agreed. We'll see how that goes. If you've been wondering what rich, creamy treat they're whipping up for this summer, I got 2 words for you: banana pudding.
Ooh.
So the next time you spot a flying double, you get going. Whataburger's Banana Pudding Shake is officially back for a limited time. What's on the menu, presented by Whataburger, and today on the menu, it's a great menu. Yann Cowart, former Tiger offensive lineman, joins us next. A little bit later on, Ed King will be a part of the panel here, and after that, Charles Barkley will join us. We'll sell a little liquor up here, I guess. Fred Beasley will join us, as well as Josh Bynes. So a great lineup on the Tiger Tailgate Show this week. Stay with us. The Tiger Tailgate Show continues in a moment.
And we're back with the action. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an irresistible taste and zero sugar, Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any sports fan. So make sure you... Wait, Jim, I didn't mean try it right now. We're still on the air.
best Coke ever? Take a taste, Jen.
Really?
No, not right now, Jen. We got a game to call.
Kia of Auburn is happy to connect the Kia brand to the Auburn fans. Our winning lineup has something for everyone at almost any budget. SUVs like the Telluride, Sorrento, and Sportage. You prefer a sedan? Check out the Rio, Forte, Soul, or the Sporty Stinger. And don't forget our new multi-purpose vehicles, the Carnival, or our amazing hybrid or electric vehicles. Kia of Auburn is a proud supporter of Auburn athletics. Kia of Auburn, where you're always number one. Whoa, Rico.
Children's of Alabama reminds you that every child's head injury should be treated like a serious injury until a doctor says it's not. In fact, the CDC estimates some 4 million sports and recreation-related concussions occur each year. Even a minor fall or collision may be a concern. Symptoms typically include headaches, unsteadiness, confusion, or sleepiness. To find out what to do in case of a suspected concussion, visit childrensal.org/concussion and always dial 911 in case of an emergency.
Sports not only bring us together, they inspire us on our own health journeys. Whether we're walking an extra lap, crushing a new goal, or spending time with friends cheering in the stands, we all win when we feel healthier and happier. That's why Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama is a proud sponsor of athletic programs across the state. Because a healthier Alabama is a happier Alabama. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama. We cover what matters.
This is a 2-minute drill on the Tiger Tailgate Show, presented by Conecuh Sausage.
Atmosphere starting to build here. Auburn versus Georgia for the 128th time. Paul Allen back here with Andy Burcham. All SEC games today. 14 teams, 7 campus locations. Let's talk about, you've been around the campuses many, many times. You heard Ronnie say basically there are people who believe this is the toughest road environment to play in. What do you think, Jordan-Hare Stadium aside, where are the toughest places to play from a crowd and atmosphere standpoint?
I think it is getting tougher to play in Starkville now, especially since they have, walled in both of the end zones. The cowbells and the sound stays in. I think it's tougher to play at Kentucky now because they're a better team. It's always been tough in Gainesville or in Athens or Auburn or Tuscaloosa, but some of these teams, it's getting tougher. It was tough for Auburn last week at Texas A&M in front of, 102,000, I guess, was the official attendance there.
That's not a real loud place for 102,000.
No, oddly enough,
it
isn't.
It's nothing like, say, Florida or some of the others around in terms of loudness.
I think that has to do with the fans themselves, as much as the structure. We'll talk structure in a couple minutes.
Yeah, they're a little too nice over there. Looking around the early games today, Arkansas against Texas A&M and Florida against Kentucky. Kentucky's already up 10-0 over the Gators. The Kentucky Wildcats, one of 3 teams that remain undefeated in the SEC. It's not hard to guess who the other 2 are right now, although one of them may be a little tough for people. Hey, the first hour of the Tiger Tailgate Show is brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of Auburn Athletics. Easy to drink and easy to enjoy. Coming up, we'll visit with Yann Cowart, so stay with us. This is the Auburn Sports Network from Playfly.
Live Sports Radio, bringing you all the action of game day with no delay. Every touchdown, interception, sideline report, and all the analysis from Andy Burcham, Jason Campbell, Ronnie Brown, and Will Herring. Yours at home and on the road. And they're good all through the spring. When football ends, you can still hear every broadcast of home men's and women's basketball, baseball, and softball, all with no delay. Live Sports Radio and Alpha Insurance, keeping you plugged into the Tigers at home and on the road.
Every team has great athletes, but the ones that come together and have each other's back win the rings. I am Kenny Mullins for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 613, and we are Auburn's electricians. We're a group of over 5,000 highly trained electrical workers who have each other's back every day. We train together, work together, and look out for each other. If you're an electrical worker, come work with people that have your back. Join us at IBEW613.org, War Eagle.
Saturdays in the South mean football and outdoor projects. And when it comes to outdoor projects, nothing beats quality John Deere equipment from a team you can depend on. That's why we trust Sun South, where owning the best equipment made is easy and affordable, whether you're working on your lawn, camp, farm, job site, or even ball field. For all your outdoor equipment needs, visit Sun South with 21 convenient locations or shop online at sunsouth.com. Sun South, equipment for those that do. Sun South is the preferred tractor dealer of the Auburn Tigers.
When you see the SEC student athlete, it's easy to picture the swing, the stance, the form. But look closer, and you'll see the heart, the brain, the clutch lab partner, the avid two-stepper, the pride of a hometown, and a little brother's hero. More than students, more than athletes. In the SEC, it just means more.
And welcome back to the Tiger Tailgate Show. Paul Allen, Andy Burcham, and a very special guest with us now. Yann Cowart joins us. Yann, thanks for being a part of the team here on the Tailgate Show. You were a part of the Auburn team, 83 to 86, I believe.
That is correct.
Right? Some great years, and your first 3 years led the SEC in rushing. Pretty good offensive line play. You had a couple of decent running backs as well back then, as I recall.
Yeah, just a couple of good ones.
Yeah. One's got a statue over here in front of us. But
it's funny because not only was I here with them, but I was here with Charles Barkley, who's got a statue over there.
Oh,
and I was here with Frank Thomas, who's got a statue over there. So it was a great time.
Your statue's a little bit different.
Yeah, I started to say
it's not
now,
quite as obvious.
Right.
You went to architecture school while you were playing football.
That is correct.
You may be the only person I've ever heard of who did the two. That had to be a bit of a stress.
I haven't done the research on it, but I would guess that I'm probably the only one from Auburn.
Because the guy that lived across the hall from me, he was basically about 20 hours a day in architecture school. That is a demanding place to be.
What was a practice day like for you in season?
Well, in season it wasn't as bad because I was really kind of co-oping, so I wasn't really taking architecture classes. I was taking building construction classes.
Yeah.
But during winter workouts, for instance, when I was in studio, there was a lot of times I went to 6:30 workout and I hadn't been to bed. I went and did winter workout
after
walking from Dudley Hall to the bubble. So
you have had the opportunity. First, when did you know you wanted to be an architect? Because you were kind of a walk-on, as I remember, your first year, and then went on scholarship and became a starter pretty quick.
Yep.
But then becoming an architect too, that's
I don't know. I grew up on
a big ask.
I grew up on a farm, just fixing things and figuring out things, and loved to draw, and it was just, I knew that's what I wanted to do when I came to college.
What was that phone call like when they told you were going to go from walk-on to scholarship? What was that call home like?
I know we talked about this before. Now it's such a great celebration.
Yeah.
These guys are jumping up and down in the meeting rooms, and everybody's ganging on them. And Coach Dye just walked by me one day and said, "Hey, come see me in my office." And I walked up there and I thought, "Oh man, I've done something.
That could be really
I don't
good
know
or
what
really
I've done."
bad." Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, you're going on scholarship." And I called my dad, and he was like, "Oh man, I ain't got to write a check again to Auburn."
You have been able to put your mark on this campus as an architect. Tell us some of the buildings on campus where you have either been the main designer or have worked on before they got built, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I've been very blessed. Great relationships here with David Housel, and he gave me my first opportunity. So the women's gymnastics facility was the first building that I ever did here on campus. But I've done the indoor, the old indoor, I guess, what we call it now.
Yeah.
Done the new football practice pavilion. We did the recruiting center here at the stadium. We did the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And we've done a bunch of other locker room modifications. The current football locker rooms right now. We've done that. We probably did that 3 times.
Yeah.
These guys here.
You've made it when they start calling your buildings the old so-and-so.
Well, the gymnastics facility is being renovated right now.
It's
as a matter
exactly
of fact.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's great.
Let's talk about those offensive lines that you played with, because it's unique. In this day and age, we don't see it. But in 83 and 84, Auburn would run two different full offensive lines during games, correct?
That is correct. Every series, we would basically shift out. And you know, we ran 80 plays, 85 plays during a game, but 80 of them were running plays, right? We threw the ball about 5 times those first 2 years. And so when we got to the fourth quarter, by God, we were fresh, you know, because we had only played half a game, you know, the offensive line.
Yeah.
We didn't, you know, by the time we got there, we were ready to go. And that we just kept pounding people at that time.
What is it like playing in front of a running back like a Bo Jackson or a Lionel James, that especially that offense you ran where they hit the hole so fast?
Well, it took a lot of pressure off.
Yeah.
Paul.
Didn't have to hold the block very long, did you?
That's right. No, I mean, it was so quick hitting that, I was small. I mean, we back then, you know, our offensive line averaged probably 250, maybe, with the biggest guy being 265. And so it was first step won the battle, right? You got your hat on the right side of somebody where they couldn't reach across. Those guys were gone. So you didn't have to push anybody out of the way.
Yann was part of the Friday football luncheon yesterday along with Tommy Agee. Talk about the importance of Tommy Agee in that offense.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, that guy, you know, practices were torturous back in those days. I mean, we practiced so much, and you know, practices where you made it. You know, you didn't do it in the game. If you didn't do it in practice, you weren't going to do it in the game. And Tommy was the most upbeat, go-get-it guy. He would never let you get down in a practice, no matter how tough it was and how bad you were hurting. He was always firing you up and kept all of us going.
That 83 season, talk a little bit about that, because that team should have been the national champions. You played the toughest schedule in the country. That series of games from mid-October to early November, I don't know that any team's ever played a series of that highly ranked teams in a row.
Well, you know, Paul, I'm going to say something right now. We are national champions. We were the national champion.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, maybe AP didn't vote us that, but we were the national champion, and we claim it.
Yeah, should.
Now, maybe Auburn doesn't recognize it, but we claim it. So, we're you know, because we did play a torturous schedule. I mean, we talked yesterday about playing Maryland and Boomer Esiason for homecoming. Now, homecoming, you're supposed to win 60-0. Well, Maryland was number 11 or 12 in the nation.
They were a top 10 team,
at that time. And, you know, just the teams that we beat that year, we faltered against Texas. We played poorly, and we deserved to get beat. But everybody else, we came back and
I think there are as many as 81 players, coaches, staff from that 83 team here this weekend.
That's correct.
Be honored before the game today.
Yeah, they'll be there. It's a great crowd.
Good.
It'll be good.
Enjoy
good to see them out there, Yann. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you for being a part of this university since 1983. It's what is that? That's like 40 years.
It's 40 years.
you don't look it, Yann.
No, I'm getting old.
We appreciate you being with us.
War Eagle. Thank you very much, Paul. War Eagle.
That's Yann Cowart, a 1983 offensive lineman for the Auburn Tigers. Stay with us. The Tiger Tailgate Show continues in a moment.
Conecuh Sausage is a fan favorite for tailgating, always great on the grill, and it's the official sausage dog and hot dog of the Auburn Tigers. Conecuh Sausage is made from the finest cuts of pork, their patented blend of seasonings, and smoked over a pure hickory fire for that true Southern flavor. Be sure to visit the Conecuh Gift Shop in Evergreen, Alabama, right off I-65 at exit 96. Enjoy a crowd-pleasing Conecuh Sausage dog while watching the Tigers and make Conecuh part of your game day. Conecuh Sausage, since 1947, a real winner.
The game has changed, and the future of Auburn athletics now demands a strong NIL program. I'm Jason Campbell. Let's come together, Auburn family, and make a lasting impact. Visit OnToVictory.com. Every dollar you contribute to On to Victory helps create NIL opportunities for our student athletes. Visit www.ontovictory.com and be a part of changing the game for Auburn athletics.
War Eagle, it's a great day for Auburn Tigers to get vaccinated. Many children and adults that delayed vaccinations during the pandemic are still behind schedule. It's crucial that we take steps to get everyone back on track with their routine immunizations. Children and teens can still catch up on their vaccinations even if they start late. Make sure you and your family are all up to date on all recommended vaccines, including COVID-19 and flu. Let's all do our part to get back on track. Don't wait. Vaccinate. For more information, visit alabamapublichealth.gov/IMM.
In football, it's important to call the right play. In life, it can be even more important to make the right call, especially regarding termite protection. To protect my home, I called Cook's Pest Control and got the Centricon system. You don't have to live with termites. For a free quote, make the right call. Cook's Pest Control and the Centricon system.
Looky, 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 here comes Cookie, Cook's Pest Control.
This is a 2-minute drill on the Tiger Tailgate Show, presented by Conecuh Sausage.
Hey, a quick reminder, the Auburn Tigers put their trust in Auburn AV every home game for the best fan experience, and so should you. Bring the football game day experience home when you have Auburn AV design and install your home entertainment system. As the preferred audiovisual provider of Auburn Athletics, Auburn AV has what you need. Learn more at auburnav.com. Quick check, Yellowwood scoreboard. Penn State and Northwestern tied 3-3 in Evanston. That is early in the second quarter, now midway in the second quarter. And Northwestern has just scored to take the lead 9-3. How about that? Southern Cal leading Colorado 20-0. Kentucky 16-0 over Florida. They have just gone to the second quarter in both those games. They are midway in the second quarter. Texas A&M leading Arkansas by a score of 10-6. Elsewhere around the country in the early games, it is Louisiana leading Minnesota 10-7. UConn leads Utah State 14-0. It is Clemson over Syracuse 14-7 as they continue to play up in the Carrier Dome. UAB 10-7 over Tulane. South Alabama surprisingly trailing James Madison 14-0. All these games are early in the second quarter, a late first, and the final early game is Akron 7-0 over Buffalo midway through the second quarter. First hour of the Tiger Tailgate Show brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of Auburn Athletics. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Stay with us. Coming up, we'll have a special visit with one of the great and dominant linemen of the Auburn Tigers. Coming up, this is the Auburn Sports Network from Playfly.
Get your game day started with the Auburn Sports Network and the Tiger Tailgate Show, presented by Conecuh Sausage. Paul Ellen, Brad Law, Andy Burcham, Ronnie Brown, Will Herring, and Jason Campbell bring the tailgate party to you. Breakdowns of the games from every angle, visits from former Tiger greats, and updates from around campus 3 hours before kickoff of every Auburn game. It's the biggest tailgate party on the radio. The Tiger Tailgate Show, presented by Conecuh Sausage.
As a coach, you don't just put any player on the line. You've got to make the right choice and recruit the right people. Train them, give them experience, and coach them up so they're ready when you call. I'm Kenny Mullins for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. And that's how we feel about our electricians. Our electricians are recruited, educated, and trained on the job to become the top 1% of electricians anywhere. So we're ready when you call. Make the right choice. Hire IBEW electricians. Learn more at IBEW613.org.
Things we take for granted, ordinary opportunities for parents and their children, can be a foster child's extraordinary. You have the power to do something positive that will change the life of a young person right here in Alabama. Open your heart and open your home to a foster child today. For more information, visit www.dhr.alabama.gov or call 1-866-64-AL-KIDS. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Human Resources, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
We always picture the SEC student athlete for their speed, their vertical, their agility. But it's time we picture them for more. For their campus voice, their community outreach, and for the simple fact that 20 years later, they're still someone's pride and joy. More than students, more than athletes. In the SEC, it just means more.
It is noon Central Time, 2.5 hours away from Auburn and Georgia, and the student lines are backed up almost all the way to the stage. This is going to be some kind of special here today at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Brad Law, Jason Campbell, Ronnie Brown, and joining us now, as Paul mentioned, is one of the great linemen to play at Auburn. He's on one of Auburn's teams of the decade. He's just a sensational representative of Auburn football through the years. Ed King joins us on the stage. War Eagle, Ed, and welcome.
War Eagle, War Eagle.
Well, boy, what an era for you to be a part of. You guys had some battles between the offensive line and the defensive line in your day.
Yeah, it was, when I came out from Central High School, came to Auburn, I was kind of thrown into the deep end of the pool. Yeah. I had to block guys like Tracy Rocker, Ben. We had the number one D-line in the nation, so I had to learn real quick.
Yeah, Ed, you talk about that. You was a second-round draft pick to the Cleveland Browns in 1991, and, let's talk about all your accolades and everything. Being an offensive lineman, we always try to figure out how hard is it to get a holding call, because it's just been hurting us in the last 2 Power 5 games we've been in. Do you feel the running back when he's getting up on your shoulders? Like, okay, when do I let go and how long do I stay engaged?
Well, you know what? I truly think it's a timing type of thing. You come off the ball with Coach Josh. He told us come off the ball and, you take care of your man, pancake him. You don't got to worry about nothing else.
Yeah.
That's a good point. If they're on the ground, you're not holding them anymore, right?
There you go.
Yeah. Talk, Ed, about your journey to Auburn. You mentioned you grew up fairly close to Auburn. Was it always Auburn? I mean, did Auburn lead from the get-go? What's your story?
Well, believe it or not, from Phoenix City, Alabama. And, Phoenix City was a big Alabama, town. And, Central High School had tons of guys come from Central to go to Alabama. And believe it or not, I was a Bama fan, Bear Bryant, But when Bear died, they had a couple coaches change. And, Coach Dye came down to Central and saw this big fellow who thought was going to help the team out. So, hey, it's been Auburn all the way.
Yeah. Ed, you talk about, Jason was mentioning, the mindset and trying to avoid holding calls. But as the game's kind of evolved a little bit, you see a little bit more of this east-west running stuff, not necessarily the north and south type of environment that you grew up in. Talk about the mindset and, as a lineman, the importance of footwork and understanding, like, how to get off, the importance of being the attacker rather than attackee, and the advantage that you get in the running game versus, having to pretty much retreat in the passing game.
Well, like you said, I'm from the old school, and pretty much, it started with the stance and the explosion, and obviously, if you're doing your job and you're moving that D lineman, at some point you got to let them go, But, we were just taught like to be very tenacious and be dominating. Come off the ball, take care of your business, help that man up, get back to the hose, and go back, get back at it again.
Just one thing, though.
Yeah.
So as a lineman, are you taught to get your hands inside, or once that hand get up on the shoulder pad, is that where they see the holding? Because some of them are questionable.
Well, we were pretty much taught, hey, keep it inside your elbows, and, extend the arm, explosion, drive them out the ball, extend the arms. And then as long as you're within the shoulder, like on the chest, you're good. Obviously, you get your hands out, everybody in the world going to see that.
We're teaching some lessons on the Tiger Tailgate show today. I love that. Love that. I said team of the decade earlier. Ed's actually team of the century as voted by the fans back in 1992. You were an all-freshman honoree, 1988. You're only the third player ever at Auburn at the time to be named an All-American as a sophomore. You came to the Plains ready to go. What was it like? Describe that first season and kind of getting acclimated to the physicality of an era that was known to be a smash mouth era.
Well, I was very fortunate where I came out of Central High School. Coach Wayne Travick, he was a throwback from like Coach Dye. So the way we practiced when I got here to Auburn, I was used to it, just like, 3.5-hour practices and, it's just like, he taught us to compete and, the one-on-ones. But once I got here to Auburn, it wasn't easy. I had to earn my due. Like I said, going against Tracy Rocker, David Rocker, and that number one D line, you know, like Coach Dye said, he said, you know, son, either you're gonna get in, fit in, and you know, be the player we thought you would be, and you know, I was fortunate and blessed, like, you know, to be an all right player.
Yeah, and Ed, as you talk about, sorry, Brad, but you know, as you talk about coming in and playing as a freshman, nowadays the thing is the expectation for these high school guys to come in, and they're expecting to. If I don't participate, then I'm in the transfer portal. Talk about the importance, because it had to be obviously a growth and development thing. Obviously, you were able to come in with the tenacity and all of that. But the importance of that first year in that transition. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, you know, I really truly think my first year, you know, obviously the transition from like high school to college is, you know, it's a big transition. And, you know, like I said, I had some good, like, you know, Neil Callaway and the guys who I was on the O-line with, you know, took me under wings and, you know, helped me become like the player I ended up being. And, you know, and I think that's just a good transition, like a tradition Auburn has, where, you know, you got young talent and, you know, they help you develop the skills you have.
And then you talk about this game, this Georgia game. You know, this game was always circled on the calendar. You know, you always got the Georgia, Alabama, LSU game. And, you know, to a lot of guys, this is a very competitive game because most of our recruits come from the Georgia area sometimes because we're not that far from the Georgia line. Talk about, you know, you played in some of them hard-nosed, gritty, dirty games between Auburn and Georgia. How do Auburn get back to winning? But just talk about your experience with the Auburn-Georgia game.
Well, you know, I'm from Phoenix City, Alabama. So Columbus, Georgia is right across the water right there. So, you know, we got a plethora of Georgia fans over that way. So it's almost like, you know, on the calendar, like you said, you know, Alabama-Georgia game, and, of course, you know, the Auburn-Georgia game, and, of course, you know, the Auburn-Alabama game, like the two most biggest games. But, you know, this game is just like playing against Alabama. Yeah. It's like, you know, playing against, like, you know, some of your cousins or somebody in the backyard football. It's like Thanksgiving backyard football and, you know, smash mouth football. And that's the way when we were coming up, Coach Dye always say smash mouth football, you know. Who going to out-physical the person across? It's a one-on-one battle.
You have any stories from practice? I mean, you mentioned some of those battles, really good offensive line, really tough defensive line. Ralph Jordan Jr. came on a year or two ago and told us about how they would run drills. He would watch his dad coach the team. They would run some drills where the defense knew what was coming from the offense just to challenge the toughness of the offense. You got any fun war stories from some of those practices?
Well, you know, with Coach Dye, I'll tell my fiance how that, you know, one thing with Coach Dye, he expect you to give him your all every practice, like it was going to be a game. And I remember having like 3.5 hours of practice, and, you know, Coach Dye say, hey, that's it. We're going to start it back over with the first period. You learn very quick to give him everything you got, because in that sun, 105 degrees.
The alternative wasn't very fun.
No, it wasn't.
All right. You are living in Atlanta now. What's going on day-to-day life?
Well, you know, just living a retirement life, you know, giving it to you young Auburn Cubs right here.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate it, and we appreciate you making some time for us today, Ed. Enjoy the game. War Eagle.
War Eagle. Thank you, guys.
All right, that's Ed King. Tiger, great. One of the guys on the team of the century is voted by the fans several years back. Listen, if you're looking for an easy, seamless transition to Auburn, consider Southern Union State Community College. Conveniently located a few miles from Auburn, Southern Union offers classes that easily transfer to the university. Endless opportunities are right up the road. The Tiger Tailgate Show continues in a moment.
The sweet smell of victory and grilled burgers still hang in the air. Your tailgate was a big win thanks to your Ford F-150 truck. With available Pro Power on board, you used your F-150 as a mobile generator. That kept the celebration going long after the final whistle. See your local Ford dealer for great offers on a Ford F-150, the official truck of the Auburn Tigers. See owner's manual for important operating instructions.
Sports not only bring us together, they inspire us on our own health journeys. Whether we're walking an extra lap, crushing a new goal, we're spending time with friends cheering in the stands. We all win when we feel healthier and happier. That's why Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama is a proud sponsor of athletic programs across the state. Because a healthier Alabama is a happier Alabama. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama. We cover what matters.
When the game goes into overtime,
but the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The game has changed, and the future of Auburn athletics now demands a strong NIL program. I'm Jason Campbell. Let's come together, Auburn family, and make a lasting impact. Visit OnToVictory.com. Every dollar you contribute to On to Victory helps create NIL opportunities for our student athletes. Visit www.ontovictory.com and be a part of changing the game for Auburn athletics.
This is a 2-minute drill on the Tiger Tailgate Show, presented by Conecuh Sausage.
All right, Brad Law and Jason Campbell. Jason is fresh off of his Holding 101 seminar that was conducted in the last segment.
Hey, you got to educate.
By the way, those of you who are watching the YouTube stream right now, you know who's coming up next on the show. And those who had planned to go away somewhere after this segment might want to stick around. That'd be a good idea. Okay, so do you feel like you're well-versed now on holding, Jason? Do you feel like you got a good grip on it?
I feel like Ed did a great job explaining to us why we're getting holding calls, but I still think a lot of them are very questionable.
What is do you remember a play, college or NFL, that was called back for a holding penalty that you just, that made you lose it more than any other?
Well, when I was playing in Washington NFL, I threw like an 87-yard touchdown pass and got outside the pocket and looked back. They called illegal man downfield. That hurt me more because he was on the backside and he just jacked the dude up for no reason, brought attention to the play. And, he didn't get fed that week, so.
All right, that's right. There are consequences, right?
Yeah, quarterbacks got to feed the linemen.
All right, Auburn is going against some X's and O's here for 45 seconds. Auburn's going up against a really talented offensive line. How do the Tigers get pressure and make things uneasy for Carson Beck, who's making his first road start?
Well, they're a big offensive line, and sometimes you got to how quick are they? Do we know that? We don't know. They haven't been really challenged as far as they'd be challenged today against our defense. I think you have to bring some form of a secondary blitz. You have to see if you can get home. And I think Donovan Coughlin is the type of guy that can do that. He's a guy that can create havoc. He's done it early in this season. And so I think for us to get home today, there has to be some secondary pressure.
All right, we'll look for that today. The first hour of the Tiger Tailgate Show brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of Auburn Athletics. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Charles Barkley is next. That's 2 minutes away. This is the Auburn Sports Network from Playfly.
Hey, I'm Charles Barkley. Call for a Redmont and water at bars and restaurants throughout the great state of Alabama. Redmont Vodka, available at select ABC stores and package stores. Redmont Vodka is 8 times distilled, gluten-free, and is made from non-GMO corn. Looking to support a local business? Redmont Distilling is Alabama proud and minority owned. Learn more online at redmontdistilling.com.
Here's a clip from a recent Talking Tigers podcast with Andy Burcham.
Randy Campbell.
I remember being in the locker room, it's pretty famous. Coach Dye, it was, totally silent in there. And the first thing I can remember Coach Dye saying is, listen to our people. And somebody opened the door to the locker room to let the sound come in, and none of the Auburn fans had left the stadium. And in unison, they're chanting, "It's great to be an Auburn Tiger," here at Jordan-Hare. So there's, lots of them, 60,000 or whatever. You heard that, and it was so inspiring to hear that they cared that much, that they believed that we were going to accomplish some great things, and they were there to be a part of it and help it happen. But because of that, even though, we were an underdog going into the Alabama game, but we didn't feel like underdogs.
A new episode of the Talking Tigers podcast is released every Monday, wherever you listen to podcasts. Like and subscribe to the Talking Tigers podcast, only from the Auburn Sports Network.
Thank you, Auburn, for over 40 years of business. Since day one at Guthrie's, we've been serving up the best golden fried chicken fingers, hand-chopped coleslaw, crinkle-cut fries, and our signature Guthrie sauce. Often imitated, never duplicated. We have 4 Auburn locations to serve you, including South College and our downtown location off East Glen Avenue, which is open until 3 a.m. every night. Fresh, hot, and fast. That's the Guthrie's promise. To find the nearest Guthrie's to you, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com.
are back on the Tiger Tailgate Show outside Jordan-Hare Stadium. Let me do some business here because I don't know that we're actually going to pick games. But our game picks are brought to you by Guthrie's, and Guthrie's thanks the Auburn family for over 40 years of business. Since day one, fresh, hot, fast has always been the Guthrie's promise. To find the nearest Guthrie's to you, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com. There's a rumor that Charles Barkley's nickname at one time was Fresh, Hot, and Fast, but I don't know about that. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Barkley joins us here on the Tiger Tailgate Show.
Hey, thank you. Hey, first of all, if y'all going to have me on the show, let me know y'all going to have one of them boring conversations about holding. And I'll wait till the last possible minute I got to come over here. That was so boring, that conversation about holding.
Unless you was getting held. I heard you complaining about being held on the block.
Yep. You get them off you. If a guy's holding you, you get them off you.
Well, come teach a class.
But see, you can do that in basketball. You can give them a little elbow. You know, what you going to do in
because
football,
though? I actually got a question for you, but they said they hold on every play. The ref, he got selective amnesia. I don't understand. I was watching the game the other day. What exactly, you just said something, what exactly is an eligible lineman downfield?
So you had that 2 to 3 yards beyond the offensive line. So
that's it?
Yeah, so when you do
on
a
pass play. On a pass play, you only get 3 yards.
So you do a play action pass or a drop back pass. If your lineman is 3 yards down the field, they call that a legal man downfield.
Okay.
Well, you thought holding was dull.
So, yeah, I was going to say,
Like
you know what you're going to hear, though? You know, next time you talk to Ernie, you know what he's going to tell you? Hey, Chuck, listen, I heard you on that Auburn pregame show.
Hey, let me tell you something. Ernie has been a nightmare for the last 2 years.
Oh.
First of all, Ernie is he went to Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
So he's made my life miserable for the last 2 years. And, 3 years, because I took him to the championship game of 1 year when they played Alabama, went through the touchdown. So he's been unbearable for like 3 years now. The last 2 years have been really unbearable. But I know he's going to call me in the next half an hour and want to, do you want the 14 and a half? He does that every year. I said, and I'm going to take the 14 and a half because there's no way our offense can play as bad as it did last week. I was going to like, what the hell is Jason Campbell when we need him?
He's in the booth now.
Let's sneak him out there.
He is retired.
Like, wait, those guys were retired last week after what I watched. That was brutal.
Yeah. How often did you get, back to holding, how often did you get held by Gary Guthrie in practice?
First of all, between holding and just beating the living hell out of me, Gary, I told people, I was with Gary last night, and I told people, when I got to the NBA, they're like, you're not bothered by the physicality. I says, I had Gary Guthrie on me for 3 years, holding me, beating the hell out of me, and telling me, you can't foul out in practice. I was like, because you would have been fouled out quickly.
That was Gary's job, though.
You know what? First of all, I hated it at the time. I'm not going to lie. Nobody wants to go to work and get beat up. But it really helped me when I got to the NBA. It really helped me when I got to the NBA.
Have you told Sonny that? You see Sonny every now and then?
I see Sonny all the time. I'm actually going to go see Sonny. I tried to go see Sonny yesterday, but his daughter, she's brutal. Sherry. So when I was driving in, I wanted to go see Sonny and Jan, the sweetest lady in the world, who's going to heaven because she's married to Sonny.
Yeah.
And Sherry didn't call me back for like 6 hours. Thank God it wasn't an emergency. And she says, well, I can't answer my phone at work. And I says, what are you, a doctor, a lawyer or something? You in court? You got to be a regular person. You're not a doctor or a lawyer. Call me back. And then so I'm going to go see Sonny in the morning, go see Sonny and Jan. Because I'm in town, because me and Bruce do our golf tournament Monday.
Yep, Monday. That's right.
Yeah, we raise money for the basketball program Monday. So thank to all the sponsors and all the players who are going to stay here and play Monday.
Talk about that. Talk about basketball a little bit. I was watching a little bit of their practice this morning. What do you think about this team coming? You get Aiden Holloway, the Matt Donald's All-American. Yeah. You get Denver. They're coming in. You got a lot of transfer guys coming in, but this team has size this year and with a little speed and quickness backcourt. What do you think about this team?
Well, the number one we have is we got a fantastic coach. I tell people this: we're never gonna get out coached. I haven't seen the team first and foremost. Last year, I thought they did as well as they could do.
Yep.
Him winning a tournament with that team was a miracle. They were not a very good team. They're just terrifically coached. Bruce is a fantastic X and O guy. We needed to get better. We need to get more athletic. I'm really looking forward to watching them play. But like I tell people, man, we're so blessed to have Bruce as our coach because we're never going to get out coached. Now, obviously, recruits change with the NIL, the transfer portal, for the worse, just for the record. But we're never going to get out coached. So I'm really looking forward to see this team. They're going to be better.
Charles, how did you get involved with Redmont Vodka? How did that come about?
Well, I wanted to. I'm always looking for companies in Alabama to buy because growing up in Leeds, Alabama means a great deal to me. And it came across my desk. I have a great team around me who look at my investments. And anytime Alabama pops, like I say, I always want to invest in Alabama. Being from Leeds means a great deal to me. Obviously, Birmingham and Auburn means a lot to me also. So any business opportunities, because I probably get 100 a week. 95 of them are crap. 5 of them are really worth me spending time with my accountant, my financial advisor, my girl Krista, who runs my life. I got 2 great financial advisors, Scott Guthrie and Stuart Hamilton. And obviously, I am just looking, because my goal in life is to give most of my money away. Because I got 1 daughter. Shout out to my grandkids, Henry and Charlie. Ernie and Clark Kellogg had told me that being a grandpa was going to be the greatest thing in the world. And I said, yeah, I'm excited. But, man, being a grandpa, little Henry is the greatest thing ever. And he got his little sister, Charlie, who's 16 months and 6 months. Being a grandpa is the greatest thing ever happened in my life. It's so cool. But I cleared it with my daughter. I said, hey, your dad been blessed to make a lot of money. I'm not going to leave all this money to you. And she says, Dad, give it away. Yeah. Leave me some, but give it away. She didn't say give it all away. She says give it. She said give most of it away, but leave some for me and the grandkids.
How do you have time to be Charles Barkley? You're a grandpa, you're a celebrity golfer, you're a TV personality, a podcaster, Lord knows whatever else, a vodka salesman. How do you manage to be who you are? What's a day like for Charles Barkley?
Well, since June the 15th, I play golf every day. I was just telling Jason, my life's starting to suck now because I got to go back to work. Because work is very overrated. I've been on vacation since June to 15, 17. I played golf and went fishing every day since June. And my life starts to suck October the 24th. I got to go back to work. So my life is, man, it's been great. It's like, and people are like, man, aren't you excited to go back to work? I'm like, hell no. If you have a choice to go golfing, fishing, or just do nothing or work, any fool who says I want to go to work, they're just a fool. I'm like, no, dude, I'm not ready to go back to work. I wish we had another 2 months.
And with that, we'll wrap up our time. The great Charles Barkley, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, guys. War Eagle.
War Eagle to you, Charles.
War Eagle.
Thank you for taking time.
All right, we'll take a break here. First hour of the Tiger Tailgate Show in the books. Lots more special guests coming your way in hour number 2 as the Tiger Tailgate Show continues in a moment.
Thank you, Auburn, for over 40 years of business. Since day one at Guthrie's, we've been serving up the best golden fried chicken fingers, hand-chopped coleslaw, crinkle-cut fries, and our signature Guthrie sauce. Often imitated, never duplicated. We have 4 Auburn locations to serve you, including South College and our downtown location off East Glen Avenue, which is open until 3 a.m. every night. Fresh, hot, and fast. That's the Guthrie's promise. To find the nearest Guthrie's to you, visit Guthrie'sChicken.com.
Saturdays in the South mean football and outdoor projects. And when it comes to outdoor projects, nothing beats quality John Deere equipment from a team you can depend on. That's why we trust Sun South, where owning the best equipment made is easy and affordable, whether you're working on your lawn, camp, farm, job site, or even ball field. For all your outdoor equipment needs, visit Sun South with 21 convenient locations or shop online at sunsouth.com. Sun South, equipment for those that do. Sun South is the preferred tractor dealer of the Auburn Tigers.
Hey, I'm Charles Barkley. Call for a Redmont and water at bars and restaurants throughout the great state of Alabama. Redmont Vodka, available at select ABC stores and package stores. Redmont Vodka is 8 times distilled, gluten-free, and is made from non-GMO corn. Looking to support a local business? Redmont Distilling is Alabama proud and minority owned. Learn more online at redmontdistilling.com.
The game has changed, and the future of Auburn athletics now demands a strong NIL program. I'm Jason Campbell. Let's come together, Auburn family, and make a lasting impact. Visit OnToVictory.com. Every dollar you contribute to On to Victory helps create NIL opportunities for our student athletes. Visit www.ontovictory.com and be a part of changing the game for Auburn athletics.
This is a 2-minute drill on the Tiger Tailgate Show, presented by Conecuh Sausage.
All right, Brad Law will check the scores from the SEC in the top 25, a Yellowwood scoreboard update in this 2-minute drill. 2 games involving conference teams. Texas A&M has gotten a couple of touchdowns from Max Johnson. Aggies lead Arkansas in a game played in Arlington. They've reached the half there in Arlington, 17-6, the Aggies over the Hogs. It is an even bigger blowout thus far in Lexington, where Kentucky is just dropping the hammer on number 22, Florida. Cats led 16-0 after 1. It's 23-zip late in the first half. Second wave of games today, in addition to Auburn and Georgia, will include a couple of afternoon tilts. Missouri is at Vanderbilt, and then a ranked-on-ranked game, LSU playing at Ole Miss. Top 25 games outside the SEC. Halftime in Evanston, 6th-ranked Penn State is tied with Northwestern. 10-10 the score there. That's a surprise as the Nittany Lions and the Wildcats go to the half, deadlocked at 10. Number 8 USC with a comfortable lead at Colorado. They're midway through the second quarter. Trojans over the Buffaloes 27-7, and that is it for top 25 games outside the SEC. A look at some of the other action in the early wave of games today finds Louisiana leading Minnesota. Raging Cajuns over the Golden Gophers 17-14 at the half up at Minnesota. UConn with a 10-point lead over Utah State. It's 17-7 late in the first half. It is UAB leading Tulane in New Orleans late in the first half, 20-13. And in the ACC, Clemson doubling up Syracuse 14-7. They're about 4 minutes away from halftime up at the formerly named Carrier Dome. First hour of the Tiger Tailgate Show has been brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of Auburn Athletics. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Second hour's next. This is the Auburn Sports Network from Playfly.
When Auburn football hits the half, keep it locked on the Auburn Sports Network for the Truckworks Halftime Report. Paul Ellen takes the driver's seat and delivers stats, scores, highlights, and analysis from the first 30 minutes. Plus an on-field interview with head coach Hugh Freeze, getting you ready for the rest of the game. The Truckworks Halftime Report on the Auburn Sports Network.
Hey y'all, this is Ronte, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich is the pimento cheese. I was like, go cheese, go pimento, go honey, go get it.
Hi, this is Chantrice, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich is the mild spiciness of the pickled jalapenos. No, it's the crispy chicken. Actually, I can't decide. It's the entire sandwich.
Order the honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
How are you the ultimate Auburn fan? Because I got this air horn installed in my throat. Pretty sick, right? Yes, you look really sick. What doctor would even do this? Doctor? I did this myself. I mean, I can't swallow whole food, but still. Wait, what? Just gotta plow through it. Hey, can I get a couple of soups up there? What about some chamomile tea? Don't be that guy. Get a fan card. The smart way to be the ultimate Tigers fan. Just go to auburncards.com.
It takes hard work to be the best in the game. Planning, commitment, resilience, sweat. That's why Old Dominion Freight Line, the #1 national LTL carrier for quality, works hard to be the best in the game and is proud to support those striving to be the best in theirs. Old Dominion Freight Line, official freight carrier of Auburn Athletics, helping the world keep promises.
is the Auburn Sports Network. And it's time for another hour of the Tiger Tailgate Show, presented by Conecuh Sausage. Conecuh Sausage is the official sausage and hot dog of the Auburn Tigers. Straight ahead, more special guests and features, and a breakdown of the X's and O's as we move closer to kickoff. Here's Paul Ellen to start another hour of the Tiger Tailgate Show.
Down to kickoff for Auburn against Georgia, 128th meeting. We just had Tiger Walk. The student gates are open and the student section filling up at Jordan-Hare Stadium. A reminder, the Picks for Kids program is back for its 12th season. Chick-fil-A donates $1,000 to Children's of Alabama for every interception by the Tigers. The Picks for Kids program benefits nearly 2,000 kids each month from the Hearing and Speech Center at Children's. War Eagle and eat more chicken.
Speaking of picks,
we didn't quite get to picks in the last segment.
I don't think we would have got to
the vodka salesman stopping by to visit with us, Charles Barkley. So we're going to do game picks this time. And here's Brad Law to semi-anchor us through that.
All right, let me update the standings first. Jason leads. He's at 11-5. Andy, Paul, and the sideline duo are now tied at 9-7. So it's a three-way tie for second place. That's because last week Will went 4-0.
After Ronnie went 0 for 4 the week before.
I wasn't going to say that.
I was.
Yes.
Will can help you out there, man.
Why, he has no microphone. Why does he have no microphone?
There we go.
He does have a microphone.
Now
We'll get him a microphone. Yeah, Will went 4-0. Andy, Jason, Paul all went 3-1 a week ago. Is his microphone working now?
It should be working.
There we
now.
go.
You know,
all right.
I don't know. It's something about Andy, man. I feel like he's a hater, man. He just, we just really had to make sure that we knew that Ronnie went 0-4. But my partner went 4-0 last week. So
Jason was the one that brought it up last week.
Andy's
an instigator. And he's a deflector. You see that too?
He likes
he's
to
a
stir the
hater
pot.
and a deflector.
Hey, you know, you kind of like Brad's back of his neck. It's a deflector.
Oh man.
Thank you, Jason.
That came out of left field.
Sure did. He'd been waiting. He didn't have another chance to get that in.
That was in the chamber the entire
I saw him trying to take a picture of the back of my neck early, but I have a hairline and a haircut.
Let's get to the pick. Let's get to the pick. 3 o'clock today in Nashville. 23rd ranked Mizzou is a nearly 2-touchdown favorite at Vanderbilt. Is Mizzou just going to keep on winning? Jason, since you're leading, you get to go first.
Yeah, I like Mizzou in this one. I know Vanderbilt's going. It's in Nashville, right?
It is.
Well, I like Mizzou.
Great city.
I'll take Vanderbilt the points, but I like Missouri winning.
Wonderful city, that Nashville. Andy, what do you think?
I'm with Jason. I don't know if Missouri covers or not, but Missouri wins, and that's the main thing.
Ronnie.
Well, I don't gamble, so the points don't matter. I'm trying to figure out who's going to win.
Yeah.
I got Mizzou, too.
All right. And Paul.
Yeah, I got to go with Mizzou, one of only 3 undefeated SEC teams, amazingly.
Right. Yeah, Kentucky's going to stay that way, by the way. They're demolishing Florida right now. All right, in Oxford, 5 o'clock tonight, ranked on ranked, top 20 game. Number 13, LSU, at number 20, Ole Miss. Ole Miss trying to rebound. They only got 10 points on the board a week ago at Alabama. LSU is a 3-point favorite in this game. Paul, you'll go first.
Lane Kiffin is begging Brian Kelly to move Harold Perkins back to middle linebacker. He's not going to do it, and LSU is going to win on the road against Ole Miss.
All right, road team. It's all road teams. 5 picks, 5 road winners. Ronnie, what do you think?
I'm going with LSU as well. I think, Jaden Dan, I think he'll have a good game this week. Ole Miss didn't impress me offensively. That was surprising last week that I thought they would give more of a fight. So I'm going with LSU.
If you had told me Auburn and Ole Miss last week would combine for 20 points, I would have never believed that. Andy, what do you think?
Ole Miss wins at home.
There it is. Going out on a little bit of a limb.
Convincingly, too. He said it.
Oh, so much confidence, right?
You see that?
Yeah, a lot of moxie behind that pick.
I think he got a little pressure.
Got to sell it.
Jason?
Oh, man, I might go on the branch on this one, but
really?
yeah,
Join me on the branch.
I just think Dart, and I think Ole Miss is getting fussed at about not running the ball, and they had the leading rusher in the nation last year. I think they're going to get back to running the football this game. I'm going to go with
LSU. You're going with LSU.
Yeah, I knew he's picking LSU.
I knew he was going that way.
Couldn't let myself do it.
Pulled a swerve on everybody. All right, how about the top 20 game up at Durham? Duke is hosting Notre Dame. Blue Devils, tough defense, playing at home.
Game day there for the first time ever.
Does Ohio State beat Notre Dame twice? Can they get back to play this game on the road? We'll go with Andy first.
Notre Dame wins this game on the road.
Oh, okay.
Duke's bubble pops.
Pops, huh?
Instantly.
Ronnie.
You know, I want to go with Dookie. Yeah. Just their D-line. I think they got a couple players that can play, but
they can smash.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a close one. I like Notre Dame in a close one.
Yeah, we got a lot of road.
Duke better be worried about keeping its coach right now.
Well,
he's going to Clemson. Dabo's going somewhere else.
Oh, well, you heard it here first.
Speaking of convincingly. Paul, what do you think?
I'm like Ronnie. I'd really like to pick Duke. I think Mike Elko is a great coach. He'll be going somewhere. If Notre Dame would play with 10 players the whole game, I'd pick Duke, but I'm going to have to go with Notre Dame.
Okay. Boy, oh boy. Nobody. Just Andy's the only one who's showing any kind of guts here today.
It's called moxie.
Or foolishness.
Jason.
You didn't even ask me yet.
I'm with you now.
I was thinking about sitting out by that lake by myself and,
that lake.
That lake, okay.
After last week, 2 plays in a row, you have 10 men on the field to win the game on defense.
Yeah.
I think Coach Freeman is honing in on Notre Dame this week about the details, attention to details. So I think that's going to be the advantage today. I like Notre Dame to bounce back in this game against Duke.
Wow. All right. So far, out of 12 total picks, y'all have picked the road team 11 times. 7th ranked.
About to go up.
It sure is. 7th ranked Washington. They have a guy, Michael Penix, who should be at the top of the Heisman list, perhaps.
I think he is, Brad.
18-point favorite at Arizona. Any chance whatsoever?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, well, we know where Andy's going.
UW.
Jason?
It's always a chance anytime you can lace them up. You know? That's why we play the game.
That's exactly right.
Well, Auburn's going to play the game and they're going to win.
Take the Wildcats,
Do
Mr.
it.
Big Talk.
I can't do it.
Dang right you can.
Washington.
All right, Paul.
3 touchdowns is not enough of a line in this one.
Right.
Washington going into, where is it, Tempe?
Yeah,
Tempe. Tucson, wherever they play, they can play this in a parking lot. Washington's going to win by more than 3 touchdowns.
All right, they're 18 points favorite. Ronnie, what do you see?
Bradley, this quarterback is the best in the country, or if not, he should be considered the front runner for the Heisman right now. He can do all the things that he needs to do as a quarterback, and the only chance that this game as close as it gets is 0-0.
There you go.
After that,
it's going to be one-sided.
Yeah, it's going to be one-sided.
After kickoff.
All right. So those are your game picks for this week. We do it in a different time slot because we had a lot of fun with Charles, and you guys can handle the next 2 minutes in the segment, I think, just fine.
We'll try our best. So those are the picks. And nobody's going to make a big move this week. We'll see what happens next. Well, nothing will happen next week either because we're all going fishing or golfing or beaching or wherever. So anyway, the Tiger Walk is over. It was a highly energetic Tiger Walk today. The student gates are open. The student section's filling up rapidly. And a reminder, the Tiger Walk Report is presented by the Alabama Department of Public Health, who reminds you, don't wait, vaccinate. Protect yourself and others by staying current on all recommended vaccines, including COVID and flu. Visit alabamapublichealth.gov/IMM. Tiger Tailgate Show continues in a moment.
Welcome to Whataburger. What can I get you today?
We know that sound. Is this guy ready to move past his usual and choose Whataburger's Southern Bacon Double? Will he seize those fresh all-beef patties with 2 kinds of cheese topped with crunchy slaw, crispy bacon, and a Southern-style sauce?
I'll take, Southern Bacon Double.
Good choice. Your boldness knows no bounds nor burgers.
Know what? You really get me.
Yep. The Southern Bacon Double from Whataburger. Just like you like it. Available for a limited time in select locations.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
Active Liver is one of many award-winning health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at Amazon.com or for a volume discount, visit newnordicusa.com. Available as a tablet or delicious sugar-free gummy. Protect and help your liver the easy and effective way with Active Liver at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
Conecuh Sausage is a fan favorite for tailgating, always great on the grill, and it's the official sausage dog and hot dog of the Auburn Tigers. Conecuh Sausage is made from the finest cuts of pork, their patented blend of seasonings, and smoked over a pure hickory fire for that true Southern flavor. Be sure to visit the Conecuh Gift Shop in Evergreen, Alabama, right off I-65 at exit 96. Enjoy a crowd-pleasing Conecuh sausage dog while watching the Tigers and make Conecuh part of your game day. Conecuh sausage since 1947, a real winner.
This is a 2-minute drill on the Tiger Tailgate Show, presented by Conecuh Sausage.
Back up here with Andy Burcham for a quick 2 minutes. Now, we always get caught up in the aughts with Will Herring and Jason Campbell and Ronnie Brown, but we've been reminded this morning, or this afternoon, I guess it is now, about the 80s and what the 80s meant to the Auburn athletic program. We've had Charles Barkley. We saw Frank Thomas on campus, I guess, Monday, touring the new baseball facilities that are being redeveloped. We've seen a lot of stuff from the 80s. The 80s, Ed King was here. 80s were a magical time on this campus.
Well, I mean, just look at the statues that are on this campus. You've got Bo just across the way here. Frank Thomas now at Plainsman Park, long overdue. Charles at Neville Arena. Add to that a Ruthie Bolton and others. I mean, the 80s really, I think we can say this now this far away, it's a golden era of Auburn athletics. And look at the coaches. Pat Dye, Joe Champy, Hal Baird, Sonny Smith. Yeah. Just to name a few that were part of this landscape in the 1980s.
Yeah, it's just amazing what was here. And when you would go out and really, people don't realize it, football, baseball, basketball, you were seeing a future legend whenever you went to a game on this campus through the 80s.
The 30 for 30 that featured Charles and Bo and Frank is terrific. I'm going to finally get an opportunity to see the documentary made about Coach Dye. We DVR'd it the other night. I can't wait to see that, the mighty documentary.
If you haven't seen it, it is really well done.
That's what I've been told.
Really well done, and if you're around here in the 80s and maybe even after that, it will bring a tear to your eye. Indeed. It is worth checking out. So stay with us. Coming up, more from the Tiger Tailgate Show, special guests and counting down to kickoff Auburn against Georgia. This is the Auburn Sports Network from Playfly.
War Eagle, it's a great day for Auburn Tigers to get vaccinated. Many children and adults that delayed vaccinations during the pandemic are still behind schedule. It's crucial that we take steps to get everyone back on track with their routine immunizations. Children and teens can still catch up on their vaccinations even if they start late. Make sure you and your family are all up to date on all recommended vaccines, including COVID-19 and flu. Let's all do our part to get back on track. Don't wait. Vaccinate. For more information, visit alabamapublichealth.gov/IMM.
Here's a clip from a recent Talking Tigers podcast with Andy Burcham.
Jarris McIntyre, former Auburn wide receiver.
It's some games on YouTube that I watched him against Alabama and some of these, one, I guess, a bowl game against Texas. And he was fast, man. He wasn't the biggest guy, but he would run. He would hit that hole. They were like in a veer type offense. I mean, nowadays he would have been spread out, and I mean, he ended up in there not being that big. And he told me he had some speed. He always would tell me how fast he was, and I didn't believe it until I actually saw it. But he was a heck of a back. Since then, we've been have our conversation as running back but it was good to kind of know that he was one of the first to be able to kind of start that whole running back tradition.
A new episode of the Talking Tigers podcast is released every Monday, wherever you listen to podcasts. Like and subscribe to the Talking Tigers podcast, only from the Auburn Sports Network.
When you see the SEC student athlete, it's easy to picture the swing, the stance, the form. But look closer, and you'll see the heart, the brain, the clutch lab partner, the avid two-stepper, the pride of a hometown, and a little brother's hero. More than students, more than athletes. In the SEC, it just means more.
And welcome back to the Tiger Tailgate Show. Paul Allen, Jason Campbell, Andy Burcham with you as we count it down to kickoff for Auburn against Georgia. Does it seem like it's been 10 years?
Goodness gracious.
10 years, maybe 9 years, 11 months. Ricardo Louis is our guest here, the man who was responsible for the completion of the miracle at Jordan-Hare. All right, we're just going to get that out of the way to start with. Tell us about that play, because you weren't really the intended receiver, were you?
Well, I mean, I had to tell Nick to throw
Sammy
the ball,
Coates
so
told us he was the intended receiver.
But that play was designed for him.
Yeah.
That play was designed for him to run a 20-yard in and hopefully set us up for a field goal.
Yeah.
But we had other plans. Me and Nick.
So tell us about the play as it worked out in your mind as you're running the deep route.
Well, I mean, I walked onto the field, and I didn't know what was going to happen, honestly with you. I don't know what I was thinking, why I told Nick to throw the ball. But honestly, I was talking to this other guy the other day, and I told him I was just feeling it that game. For some reason, I felt the energy. I really realized what that rivalry was all about, and I felt it in the game, and I just had a feeling like, we just have to win this game.
What was it about the play? Because in watching that, there's so many amazing parts of that play. To me, the most amazing part, though, is how you kept going with the route despite the fact that it was deflected. Yeah. And you caught it. I mean, when did you see it coming back over your shoulder in stride to catch the ball?
Yeah, did you even see it?
So I get that question a lot, like, what made you keep running?
Yeah.
And honestly, I always say it was God. It just something like that you can't really plan. It was just meant to be. The way the season was going, we had many magical moments before that moment. Yeah. C.J. Uzomah versus Mississippi State had a touchdown. I mean, we had many games where it was a lot of great things happening. That just happened to be one of the
Marcus Davis, Texas A&M.
Yeah. Without that play, we wouldn't be here today talking about the Georgia catch. It could have been totally different. You never know. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to really explain what I seen in that moment. But I always tell people I had a flashback of when I was a kid playing this game called Throw 'em Up, Bust 'em Up. There'll be one person with the ball. He'll throw it up, and everybody will compete to catch it, and whoever catches it has to run to the end zone, and everybody has to tackle.
What was it called again?
Throw 'em up, bust 'em up.
See, we call that kill the man.
Kill the man with the ball. That was exactly. People don't realize while that ball was in the air as you were catching it, you were also recruiting Trey Matthews to transfer into Auburn the next year.
Yeah. I mean, he came after, and we talked about it one day, and he was just like, you know what, it is what it is, man. Now I'm here. Let's make something special happen here. And, we still good friends to this day. We keep in touch here and there. But, I mean, he's decided to come to Auburn, become a Tiger after that. So,
yeah.
Well, you talk about Marcus Davis. Now he's the receiver coach here.
Yeah.
How often do you get a chance to talk to him? How exciting it is to see a former teammate, back here as a receiver coach? Yeah,
so I talk to him, every now and then as well. I talked to him last week, actually, about him becoming a coach here and how proud of him I am. And it's amazing to see. Like, I know he learned so much throughout the time he played and going through everything he's been through as a player and as a coach. I think he's well equipped for his job. He's a real Auburn man. I think he's prepared to take these kids to the next level, and he's only going to continue to grow, as he continues to coach. So I'm proud of everything he's been doing so far.
Ricardo is part of one of those power Auburn couples family, right?
Yeah.
Talk about your family if you would, Ricardo.
Yeah, well, my wife, Jasmine Jones, she's right here.
Yes.
Come on up, baby. Come up. I went to Fez to see my wife, Jasmine Jones. She played basketball here.
Yeah. I got to call her games.
Yeah.
She was a hooper. Her sister is here. Her twin sister is also here. With her daughter, her husband. They'll be here later on. But, yeah, I mean, before I came to Auburn, I was getting recruited, and a lot of people would say, you're going to find your wife here at Auburn. And when they would tell me, I didn't know if it would be true. I didn't know if I would, And then eventually I ended up meeting Jasmine Jones, loving my life.
Good.
And I'm glad I came to Auburn and was able to find someone like her. So.
Congratulations.
Gus recruited you as a quarterback. Is that right?
Yeah.
How long before you were here that you realized that your future was not going to be a quarterback?
Honestly, I mean, coming out of high school, quarterback, safety, running back, receiver. And I just chose to play receiver because – I like to have the ball in my hands. I like to make big plays. But, honestly, quarterback was really fun. But after my freshman year was when he decided, receiver is where you need to be, and the rest was history.
And you still got to run the ball about as much as you wanted to.
Yeah. I love to run the ball. I came from a wing T offense in high school, so all we did was run the ball. So.
Ricardo, you talk about the RPO system. That's what Auburn wants to get into. They want to get to the RPO game. You guys had a little bit of that, a lot of it, with Nick Marshall and the way that Gus wanted to go fast. And, talk about the importance of, from a quarterback perspective and a receiver, of being where you got to be, and how does the RPO system really work from the eyes of a receiver?
Well, one of the biggest things as a receiver you have to understand is blocking the person you need to block. Because in the RPO system, sometimes when you don't get the ball, you can spring the running back or spring whoever has the ball into a big play. But as far as being a receiver, you got to understand defenses. You got to understand how to adjust, how to make adjustments, because when we ran the RPO system, Nick had many options. He could keep it, he could throw it, and as a receiver, you got to understand defense. You got to understand leverage. You got to understand all these different things. And my favorite part about the RPO offense and how we ran it when we were here was the pace.
Yeah.
Our pace was so fast. Before the defense could get lined up, we were already on to the next play. And I was telling somebody earlier today that our offense was so fast that the defense would have to just act like they're hurt and just fall down. The coach would say, just fall down, just to slow us down.
That's right.
And, you know, that's the part of the way we ran. That's what I like the most.
But how do you know when to block, though? Because you can run a slant, so you look at the defense, you see cover two, you know, like, okay, they probably going to pull it and throw the slant.
Well, it's really based on leverage a lot of the time. You know, we run the ball to the edge. You have a safety who comes down, he's apexing. And as a receiver, sometimes you may have to adjust your alignment or come in motion just to be able to get yourself in position to make that block. And just in case it bounces, just in case, you know, we have to cut up inside. So it's a lot of it has to do with leverage and understanding how the defense lines up against you. So.
All right, we know where you were with the miracle at Jordan-Hare. Where are you during the kick six?
Man, I'm right on the sideline, and I'm watching it happen. And I'm like, wow, this is happening again.
Did you watch it live, or were you looking at the board?
I was watching it live.
Okay,
you
weren't looking at the board. Okay.
And I seen how I felt the feeling that everybody felt when I made the play versus Georgia. I seen the reaction. I felt it, and my reaction was just like, this is crazy. Like, it's, you know, it's meant to be. This is destiny. Like, this is one of the best programs. This is one of the best teams that I've ever been a part of. You know, so
talk about that team. At the beginning of the year, Auburn's coming off a bad year. Yeah. You come out and you beat Washington State, but it was a tough game. Mm-hmm. Nothing special there. When did you know that this was going to be a special team? When did you feel it?
After Texas A&M.
That was it.
Yeah, after we beat Texas A&M, because that was a hard-fought game.
Yeah.
Defense played very well. Offense played very well, and special teams played very well. As a team, collectively, we played very well. And one thing that Miles on preached the entire year, even before the year started, was we're going to find a way to win. That's one of the things he always preached. And we started to believe it the more and more we would win these games. Like one of my favorite games was Mississippi State. Yeah. I think that's really where it started with CJ making that play and really believing what Miles on was saying and buying into everything that he was preaching to us and the coaching staff. And not only did we do our part as the players, but I feel like the entire organization, everybody that was a part of athletics, a part of the academic side, helped us get to the point where we were beating these teams and eventually getting to the national championship. It was more than just the coaching and the players. It was everybody involved in it. So
you look at that State game, and we listened to the call that Rod Bramlett had, of course, of your play in the kick six. But he called the pass to Uzama.
Yeah.
He calls that play that night.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah, I think I did see that actually, and I don't know how he was able to – how did he know that? Like,
I don't know, but he sure did.
Wow.
And that was the game where really Marcus Davis came into his own. True freshman. Nobody had ever heard of Marcus Davis. He was another quarterback recruit that came in and became a wide receiver.
Lefty too.
Left-handed Taylor was a quarterback.
Yeah. Did you have to talk him into playing receiver? Because you had a bunch of quarterbacks that came in and played other positions.
Jason Smith was another quarterback. Turned receiver. Yeah, I mean, it just honestly, you got to be very athletic to play quarterback, in my opinion. At least in high school, you can.
Unless you're just a drop back guy like Jason.
Unless you're 6'5".
I played basketball. See, I played basketball. I'm sure you ran track, played basketball. You know, quarterbacks are multi-talented
and to make
athletes,
the switch,
you know?
to make the switch, you got to be very athletic.
Yeah.
You can't just, it's not easy to do it. Terrell Pryor is another example as well.
Yeah.
I played with Terrell Pryor. He was a quarterback, and then coming to Cleveland, having to switch to receiver in the NFL is not easy. So.
Okay, very quickly, tell us what you're doing these days.
So right now, I've been in real estate for a couple of years, but these days I'm in the stock market. I'm trading futures. NASDAQ.
South Florida, right? Back in South Florida.
Back in Miami, South Florida, yeah. Yep.
Great to have you all here today.
It is. It's great to have you and the family here. Always good to see you.
War Eagle.
Ricardo Louis, the man on the receiving end of the miracle at Jordan-Hare. Thanks, Ricardo. We appreciate it. Hey, it's even easier to score big with a Jack's handmade meal. Jack's is the perfect pre, during, or post-game meal. Feed the whole team. Order online or eat at jacks.com. Download the Jack's app for daily deals and loads of rewards. Stay with us. The Tiger Tailgate Show continues in a moment.
things we take for granted, ordinary opportunities for parents and their children, can be a foster child's extraordinary. You have the power to do something positive that will change the life of a young person right here in Alabama. Open your heart and open your home to a foster child today. For more information, visit www.dhr.alabama.gov or call 1-866-64-AL-KIDS. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Human Resources, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Hey Auburn fans, it's time to stretch those legs and reach for another bag of Golden Flake. Home or away, with family or friends, you know no game day is complete without your favorite snack. So enjoy Golden Flake or any of our other delicious snacks from the Utz family of brands and sit back for the rest of the game. Golden Flake in Auburn football, a winning team. Simple Southern goodness. Golden Flake, celebrating 66 years as the official salty snack of the Auburn Tigers.
It takes hard work to be the best in the game. Planning, commitment, resilience, sweat. That's why Old Dominion Freight Line, the #1 national LTL carrier for quality, works hard to be the best in the game and is proud to support those striving to be the best in theirs. Old Dominion Freight Line, official freight carrier of Auburn Athletics, helping the world keep promises.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is a 2-minute drill on the Tiger Tailgate Show, presented by Conecuh Sausage.
Back with you, checking the Yellowwood scoreboard. Some interesting scores in the early window today. Penn State and Northwestern are tied at 10-10. They have just kicked off the second half. It has taken 50 seconds for Penn State to drive down to the Northwestern 1-yard line, where it is 3rd and goal at the 1-yard line. So Penn State pending the lead against Northwestern. Southern Cal 34-14 leader in Boulder over Colorado. That game is at halftime. Also at halftime, it is Florida trailing Kentucky. Number 22 Florida trailing undefeated Kentucky 23-7. That game in Lexington. They have just started the third quarter in Irving, Texas, and Texas A&M leads Arkansas 20-13. About 4 minutes into the second half in that one. Elsewhere in non-top 25 action, Minnesota in Minneapolis leading Louisiana by a score of 21-17. That one's midway through the third quarter. UConn leading Utah State up in Stores by a score of 17-7, just starting the third quarter there. Syracuse and Clemson going at the former Carrier Dome. Up in Syracuse, Clemson leads at 21-7. They are at halftime in that game. UAB 20-14 leader over Tulane in New Orleans. Meanwhile, James Madison is rolling against South Alabama. Little bit of a surprise, 24-7. They have reached halftime in that game. Also early game, Akron leads Buffalo 10-7. And Eastern Michigan and Central Michigan are all tied up 7-7. That game in the first quarter of action. A lot of great action going on. 7 conference games in the SEC. Everybody in the league playing in conference play. Well, stay with us. More to come on the Tiger Tailgate Show. This is the Auburn Sports Network from Playfly.
Conecuh Sausage is a fan favorite for tailgating, always great on the grill, and it's the official sausage dog and hot dog of the Auburn Tigers. Conecuh Sausage is made from the finest cuts of pork, their patented blend of seasonings, and smoked over a pure hickory fire for that true Southern flavor. Be sure to visit the Conecuh Gift Shop in Evergreen, Alabama, right off I-65 at exit 96. Enjoy a crowd-pleasing Conecuh Sausage dog while watching the Tigers and make Conecuh part of your game day. Conecuh Sausage, since 1947, a real winner.
Here's a clip from a recent Talking Tigers podcast with Andy Burcham.
Jarris McIntyre, former Auburn wide receiver.
You know, it just was crazy that it took that long for us to score a touchdown with Ronnie Brown on the team, Cadillac Williams, myself, Courtney Taylor, Jason Campbell was the quarterback, Devin Aromashu, Ben Obamanu. We were loaded, and we couldn't score in 2 games. I could just remember catching that pass like, I got to get in the end zone. We got to score. We got to get this monkey off our back. And I still watch that play to this day. I still listen to his call to this day. And, you know, I think that's probably the most memorable moment of my Auburn football career outside of the, you know, Go Crazy Cadillac, running down that sideline with that.
A new episode of the Talking Tigers podcast is released every Monday, wherever you listen to podcasts. Like and subscribe to the Talking Tigers podcast, only from the Auburn Sports Network.
The Houston Clinic would like to welcome Dr. Brad Young, the newest addition to our team of experienced medical professionals at Auburn's Houston Clinic. Specializing in joint replacements, sports medicine, and arthroscopic surgery, Dr. Young has treated athletes and worked with sports teams from middle and high school to college and professional teams. Call now to schedule your evaluation. Houston Clinic. Research, education, treatment. Houston.com.
We are back on the Tiger Tailgate Show, just over 1.5 hours away from kickoff inside Jordan-Hare for Auburn and Georgia. All Auburn, all orange, and the crowd has responded appropriately. It's going to be a great day inside Jordan-Hare. Brad Law, Ronnie Brown with you. We're talking things over with one of the great linebackers to play for the Tigers, Josh Bynes, a national champion, a Super Bowl champion, just a champion of a man. Josh, War Eagle, and welcome.
War Eagle, I appreciate you for having me.
All right, let's start professionally first. I think we've had you on to talk about this before, but describe the feeling of not – look, it's one thing to excel in college. It's another thing to make it to the NFL. It's another thing altogether. The percentages get smaller and smaller of guys who have run onto the field in a Super Bowl. Describe that feeling, if you would.
That feeling is second to none. I can't really explain it. All the hard work and dedication that goes into it, and obviously winning the national championship was one thing, but 2 years later be able to play in the Super Bowl, to run down on a kickoff in the Super Bowl is just it's exhilarating. And obviously to win it is even better.
Yeah. A 12-year NFL career, and that's so far. Talk about what you're up to these days.
Oh, no, right now I'm still working out, still staying in shape, and now I come down to Auburn at least once a week and come out and help with the football staff and stuff like that as well, and just spending time with the family as much as possible, and just, you know, seeing if year 13 comes about. We'll see if that happens or whatnot, and until then, just spending time with the family and loved ones.
Yeah, so last time I saw you, you were talking about, I mean, obviously you got another opportunity, so, you know, it's staying ready. But, you know, as you talk about now, you're in that point where transition and seeing what you would like to do and seeing what those interests are. What are those things? What do you think those things are? Are you throwing spaghetti at the wall and saying, okay, let's just see what sticks? Because, you know, obviously you've evolved, you've changed, your interests have changed.
Yeah.
What are those things that interest you now?
Interests me now is like me and my wife, we do real estate now, and we have a ton of properties around Atlanta and stuff like that as well. And also coaching has been something I've been wanting to do for a long time, just because I feel like I have so much knowledge and played this game for so long. I want to give it back as much as possible to the guys, so hopefully they can have a successful long career as well, you know. And obviously administratively has always been a thing or whatever. I feel like I tell my wife, I feel like I'm a good jack of all trades, because I feel like I can do whatever I do. I'm always gonna put my heart into. If it's radio, if it's commentary, it's coaching, it's this, it's that. You always gonna get the best out of me, and I'm able to fill whatever shoes I can. And so I'm very just put myself out there, being as open as possible, and just taking it for where it's going. But I'm just extremely blessed. And like I said, I got my wife over here. My wife is right here. Brianna. Yeah, I see you. Don't try to hide. It's okay. We all see you. You know, and they got the fam over here and everybody, and it's just extremely supportive to have them. And, you know, as we're going into this next chapter, whenever that chapter comes.
Right. Look, Ricardo called his wife on stage.
I was trying to get my wife to come on stage. Come on, honey.
She already said no. I saw her. She was like, no.
My wife played volleyball at Auburn, and that's how we met here as a freshman. We played here, being together freshman year, met her. And, you know, that's the beauty about this place that I love.
Right.
You know, you meet the love of your life, and, you know, we got 3 boys. There you go, honey. I appreciate you.
I met my wife here as well.
You see what I'm saying? Something about Auburn, you know. I'm trying to make sure we understand that, you know, when you come to Auburn, you know, it's just things like this happen. You got a great family, great connections. It's just pure love here.
More than a degree.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Significantly more than a degree.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Big picture question here. Give me a little bit of rope.
Yeah.
So You hear this from a lot of guys, especially guys who go to the NFL. Football is such a popular game.
Yeah.
You have a platform. There is this intentionality to give back.
Yeah.
What sparked that in you? When did you really feel that kind of start to come alive?
I just feel like, the crazy thing is my first year I was never drafted. I wasn't drafted. I was undrafted. So I had, luckily enough, when I went to Baltimore, I had Ray Lewis, and but the rest of the cast was full of undrafted linebackers. So I had those guys to lean on to teach me the ropes of how to play the game, what to do to play in this league a long time, and stuff like that. And I felt like without those guys, I probably wouldn't have been in the league as long as I have been. And I just feel like I'll probably been a lost dog in the sense, just be out there just like trying to figure stuff out. But luckily I had guys that showed me the way, and I feel like that is the things I want to continue to do. Because you guys come to the league now, these younger guys come to the league, and it's different. Like, it's not like how we were when we first came in. It's a whole different animal. And so they definitely need that guidance, that leadership to be able to, transform a locker room and just develop themselves to hopefully play a long career as long as I have.
Right, and as you talk about, like, leadership and guidance and, I think evolving, I think that's the big word. Being a young man from Fort Lauderdale, coming to Auburn University, going undrafted, talk to these young guys, because now, like you said, it's changed a lot. But talk about the importance of learning the business of football, because so many of us come and we get good at the game of football, but the importance of being great at the things that don't take talent, how important are, punctuality, attitude, attention, effort, understanding that as an undrafted guy, whatever you got to do to get your foot in the door, that's one thing, but also playing the game and then understanding the business of the sport.
And playing the game, understanding the game, and also just never know you run into and meet. Because I tell my boys this story as well, especially my oldest son. I'm like, you just never know how you run into people. My linebacker coach, when I was at Cincy in 2020, he was on the offensive side of the ball in Detroit when I was there in 14 through 16. And crazy enough, because how I carry myself, he vouched for me to come to Cincinnati in 2020 because the type of player I am. He knows what he's going to get out of me and what I bring to the table. But he was on the offensive side of the ball to see that. Yeah. So if I never showed that kind of, what would that have brought me to 2020? Let alone I started all 16 in 2020, let alone gave me 21 and a 22 season. It could have cut short at just 2020 or so. So you just never know. But also just carrying yourself like a pro. Each and every game, each and every week, like putting that work in. Like my kids is like honestly tell you all the time. Like when I come home, it's like I'm home, Dad, cool for a second. Then after that, it's hey, I'm iPad, I'm working, I'm taking notes, and it's a really beyond just what you see on Sundays and the work it takes to get to Sundays, Monday through Saturday. It's a process and a lot, and that's why, like I said, I want to hopefully one day be able to give those things back to these guys and learn how to be successful in this business.
Memories of the Georgia game when you were here, because you played in the game over there, the blackout in 07.
Oh Lord, don't even talk about that one.
That's when the rivalry changed flavors a little bit.
That's
kind of, and then you also played in 2010, which was a fairly emotional game here as well.
Oh yeah, it was a physical game.
Yeah,
it got even more physical. And I remember, but those games, the UGA game, I tell people all the time, outside of Alabama is Georgia. I can't stand Georgia. It's just the Bulldogs. They just come with this swagger, confidence out of nowhere. Really, they're just starting to get good. They ain't been that good. They need to stop. But but really, it's just it's just a deep rivalry. And we know what it's going to take to each and every time we play UGA in this stadium, and it's going to take the fans to all 90,000 fans to scream as loud as possible to make it hard for UGA today.
Yeah, and as you talk about like how to make it difficult, you've been around the team a little bit. You've been over, like you said. What's the thing or the key for Auburn's defense today? Obviously we all know Georgia likes to run the football.
Oh, yeah,
quarterback hasn't played that great. So what is one of the keys if you were leading that group of linebackers and young men on the defensive side of the ball? What would be your message to these guys?
The first thing you do, every defensive meeting since I've been playing football, it always starts with Wednesday practice. As you know, being in the league, what it starts with? Stop the run. If you can't stop the run, you ain't going to beat Georgia. It just is what it is. So I would tell the linebackers and tell the team on defense, like, look, it starts with stopping the run first and limit them on make sure they have second and longs to put the quarterback in third and long situations. So that way we can have our guys go hunt and get after the quarterback, get off the field on third downs, and get our ball back to our offense and go make plays. If we do that, keeping them second and long situations, it's gonna be a great one down here on the Plains.
Right, and watch that tight end.
Yeah. You ain't lying. Got to see where he lined up at, see where he shows you and stuff like that. And as you know, his game, because he's talented, that's for sure.
Clearly you make the guys in red and black nervous because look how they congregated here. They wanted to find out what Chuck had to say. I love it. Josh, man, we appreciate you coming by. We hope we can do it again sometime.
Yes.
War Eagle,
Yes.
best of luck to you going forward.
I appreciate it, War Eagle.
All right, Josh Bynes, great Auburn linebacker here with us. Stay close. The Tiger Tailgate Show continues in a moment.
Who out there likes chicken and eggs? Both are protein-packed and loaded with essential vitamins and minerals to keep you healthy and your immune system strong. Start your morning with a delicious omelet with all your favorite fix-ins. Or have some grilled chicken for dinner. Here in Alabama, we produce almost 500 million eggs a year. You just can't beat that. However you choose to enjoy chicken or eggs, remember, they're good for you and great for Alabama.
Auburn Bank presents Championship Moments.
Auburn's 2013 season could have hit a roadblock when starting quarterback Nick Marshall was injured in the win over Ole Miss, but it didn't. The following week, the Tigers hosted homecoming against Western Carolina and proceeded to rack up a record 712 yards of total offense in a 62-3 rout of the Catamounts. On the final drive of the first quarter, a sophomore receiver made his presence known.
Trips left, single receiver right, near hash mark, left to right. Johnson's going to air it out deep down the field. There's Lewis. He makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Auburn! A beautiful throw by Jeremy Johnson to Ricardo Louis for 46 yards and a score.
The first receiving touchdown of Lewis's career was the second of 4 scoring passes in the game for Johnson. It was the first of 2 touchdowns for Lewis in the 2013 season. The other was slightly more notable. I'm Jacob Hillman, and this has been another championship moment presented by Auburn Bank, champions of youth.
For generations, Alabama Extension has played a vital role in bettering the world around us. And by taking information discovered through Auburn University research to the people, we are empowering communities to tackle the challenges of tomorrow in a rapidly changing world. As educators, Extension is a partner in every county, bringing practical ways to better our homes, farms, people, and overall way of life. Alabama Extension, extending knowledge, improving lives. Discover more by visiting aces.edu.
This is a 2-minute drill on the Tiger Tailgate Show, presented by Conecuh Sausage.
Okay, Brad Law, Ronnie Brown on this 2-minute drill, and we're going to talk a little bit about the pregame medical report and guys who were banged up, bumps and bruises, getting toward the midway point of the season. Pregame medical report brought to you by East Alabama Health. Their team of first responders are proud to provide first aid at today's game and at every Auburn athletic event. Okay, Ronnie, guys, particularly in the secondary, whether it's Donovan Kaufman, J.D. Rim, Auburn really would be benefited from being at full strength or close to it in the secondary against this Georgia pass attack.
Yeah, and it's going to be really important. One, because I think just looking at their passing chart, right, the majority of their passes are between the numbers, shorter route stuff, and so those guys are important in that stuff. So you're going to have the linebackers involved. But also when you talk about Donovan Kaufman,
yeah,
he's so much of a part of this defense inside the box and getting in the backfield.
Yeah,
that's going to be a key because we were talking with Josh, and it's getting those guys in second and longs, third and longs, and in passing situations. And so where you know that you can sit back, you let the guys up front go try to get the quarterback. And so that's going to be key for those guys.
A&M picked on the secondary when Zion Puckett left the game last week. He's practiced. We think he's good to go for this week, and he's key to get guys lined up. That's step number 1 defensively.
Yeah, and that starts with it. It's alignment assignment. Yeah. You do alignment assignment, and then it's go get on defensive side of it, you go get the ball. And so, and it's important in these environments when you're at home for the defense to send a message, and they need everyone at the ball, at the tackle every time.
Absolutely. We're going to talk more about matchups in this game, offense, defense, position by position, and give you the first real full matchup segment of the Tailgate Show coming up in just 2 short minutes. Stay with us. This is the Auburn Sports Network from Playfly.
Hey, Auburn fans, it's time to stretch those legs and reach for another bag of Golden Flake. Home or away, with family or friends, no game day is complete without your favorite snack. So enjoy Golden Flake or any of our other delicious snacks from the Utz family of brands and sit back for the rest of the game. Golden Flake and Auburn football, a winning team. Simple Southern goodness. Golden Flake, celebrating 66 years as the official salty snack of the Auburn Tigers.
Yellowwood knows that a 5-star backyard is the place to make lasting memories.
like cookouts. Cornhole with friends. Ooh, a neighborhood potluck with your wife's pasta salad. The one with the feta. Oh, sorry. Or taking a nap on your deck in a hammock. Naps are memories. I love naps. For 5-star backyards and the most memorable experiences, Yellowwood brand pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't have that yellow tag, you don't want it.
Hey, Auburn fans, it's Coach Freeze. Few plays are more exciting than the sack. For every Auburn sack this season, a donation is made to help the Ascension St. Vincent's Foundation invest in PE equipment for schools around the state. Cultivating a healthy lifestyle early helps prevent chronic diseases. Please join Jill and me by making a donation to SAC Childhood Obesity. Visit stvhsfoundation.org, War Eagle.
Thinking of medical school? Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine in Auburn has award-winning medical education and research programs. VCOM partners with Auburn University for student activities, research, and sports medicine physicians to care for Tiger athletes. VCOM is providing tomorrow's physicians for Auburn and the surrounding communities. Find out more at vcom.edu. That's vcom.edu.
Gosh, what a beautiful day for football in the Deep South's oldest football rivalry. With Ronnie Brown, I'm Brad Law, and this is the Tiger Tailgate Show presented by Conecuh Sausage. Ronnie, big-time matchups. They're important always up front in the trenches, and I think you got to look at a Georgia offensive line. They're all 6'4" or taller. They got 3 guys who are 6'7" or taller. They're all 310 or heavier, big wingspans. They were all like top 5 at their position when they were recruited coming out of high school. How does Auburn's defensive line, which showed a pretty hefty rotation last week, I mean, they're playing 7, 8, 9 guys, and the backups played more than they had the first few games. How do you go about getting pressure on Carson Beck, a quarterback who's making his first road start?
Well, I think it's about, obviously this is a game of leverage. When you talk about being in the trenches, these guys are all pretty tall when you talk about vertical alignment. And so, the thing about it is it's a game of leverage. And so in order to move anything, you have the low man wins. And that's kind of like what you learn from wrestling. And so, these guys are going to know, all right, it's important to have a good base, but you got to attack, get in their chest. And hopefully, if those guys are playing harder, they give you a bigger target. If you can get some push, then those tall targets also kind of impede on the progress or the view or obstructing the view for him throwing to those receivers. Obviously, we all know he's going to throw it to Brock Bowers a lot. That's their tight end.
Yeah.
He's all league, and so, really, really talented guy. But trying to get those guys push the pocket back, and if you can't get there, then you're getting your hands up. And so trying to get some batted passes, creating turnovers in that manner. But that's going to be key, is getting your leverage, getting under these guys, hopefully getting your hands inside, and then it doesn't matter how big they are, so that's going to be the key.
Jalen McLeod played more last week than he had in the first 3 games of the year. His explosiveness going to be necessary, going to be vital today. And maybe do we see a little more of J.J. Falk, the freshman? They brought him on a little by little, a little more every week.
Yeah, and it's important, because, one, the depth is important, obviously, when you start talking about second half, but also changing up the look, getting these guys to do different things. You get a guy, he gets comfortable, like you said, these bigger body guys. Then you also want to see, okay, horizontally, how well do you move? Like, if you get some of the faster guys in, because you have that height, then how much can you bend without wrapping guys and getting holding penalties? And so showing them different looks, being able to shift, doing some some TE games where you're, moving guys around, all of those things. You try to throw everything at them and make them defend everything defensively.
Going to talk about Auburn's running game. Our buddy Brad Lester posted something last night that it was a stat that Auburn is 3rd in the country in yards before contact. So the offensive line is making some way for the running backs to get out in space, or the play calling is getting guys out in space, and they're getting the 3rd best yards per contact in the country. We're going to talk about the offensive line after I remind you that Brick and Spoon is the place to be. Weekday or weekend, they have something for everybody. Hearty breakfast, delicious burgers, the amazing Bloody Marys. Come enjoy what Brick and Spoon has to offer there at 2836 Pepperell Parkway in Opelika. They can't wait to see you at the Brick. Well, just like the Georgia offensive line, the D-line is just loaded with 5-star guys, high school studs who have come out and played well in this transition to the college game as well. That Auburn offensive line will be tested, but they've been good, especially in creating running lanes this year.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. Like we were talking about earlier, the importance of the running game and keeping a balanced offense. Getting some easier throws. We talked earlier in the broadcast about RPOs, the importance of RPOs, keeping those guys guessing, and so they don't, be able to pin their ears back. Because you get in those third and long favorable situations for the defense, it makes it tougher on you as an offense. And so, for these guys to create those lanes, to, make sure that yards before contact, you do a really good job in that area, because if you can get 3 and 4 yards a pop, then that gives you a chance on third and short, to be able to run the ball or pass the ball, depending on whatever you'd like to do. But more than anything else, it doesn't allow them to sit back and say, okay, we know this is a passing situation. And so there's a lot of talent on that side of the football for this Georgia football team, but it's also saying, hey, man, we're going to make you defend everything, whether that's throwing slant routes, you're throwing out routes, you're throwing swing routes to the running backs, you're getting the ball out quickly. That's where, we've kind of seen with the Miami Dolphins and how they've adjusted things with Tua. They've been able to get the ball out quicker, running the football, being effective in the running game. And so that keeps defenses having to guess and say, okay, I just can't say this is what's coming.
Against this defense, can you run to set up the pass, or do you have to try maybe more to pass to set up the run?
I think it depends. Early on in the game, it's a little bit of a cat and mouse thing between the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. It's like, okay, well, what are we most effective doing? Obviously, the first 20 plays, usually scripted from a standpoint of, okay, let's see, this is what they tend to do. We're going to come out, we're going to do this. If we're able to run the ball effectively, now the run sets up the pass. Now you got some play action stuff. You may want to take a shot here and there. The RPO stuff, you introduce that, get the ball out quickly. That also helps Peyton. I think early on is decision-making, getting that confidence and throwing the ball and letting it go and trusting his instincts and his ability. And so being able to do it but using it in a way that it can become balanced, and to where it's not just, you're a one-dimensional thing and it's like, okay, well, we want to run the clock. We want the clock to be in our favor, but also you have to keep moving the chains.
Hard to imagine that you won't see an improved Peyton Thorne running the offense this week, right?
Right, and it's about him getting comfortable, and putting him in situations where he can be successful, and I think that's the thing. When you get a new coach, you get a new scheme, it's all a new learning situation for everyone, and so they're trying to figure out, we're a few games into the season, what does he do best? What is he most comfortable with doing? How do we allow him to be in that comfort zone, create situations that, give him an opportunity to be successful? Also with him working with the receivers, trying to create some kind of rapport with those guys and saying, okay, listen, like, this is how I want this thing ran. When I trust you, I take 3 steps, I'm going to let the ball go. I'm going to throw it out in front of you. And so it's just a little bit of adjustment. Hopefully, like you said, the experience of it, having a few games in, then he starts to get a little bit more comfortable and has a good ability to get a little bit more confident.
Keys defensively in a minute or less.
Well, the key for Auburn is stopping the run and then creating turnovers. You need turnovers against teams like this, whether that's getting sacks, strips, I think interceptions, forcing them in those situations where they know they're going to throw it, getting under that big tight end. He's athletic, he's fast, not giving him a chance to get downfield and stretch the field, but you keep a guy under him. And if you get some of those batted passes, then turnovers are going to be key.
All right, you've been hydrating pretty well. It's a hot day today.
I did. I had Powerade. I had a water, so I'm good to go.
All right, ready to go for the sideline. Looking forward to your reports from there, Ronnie. Thank you, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, with that, we wrap up the last full segment on the Tiger Tailgate Show. Special thanks to our guests today, Charles Barkley, Josh Bynes, Yann Cowart, Ed King, Ricardo Louis. Stay tuned for the Outdoor Alabama Countdown to Kickoff. We'll have matchup analysis, interviews with assistant coaches, players, head coach Hugh Freeze, scores from around the league, and a whole lot more ahead of today's matchup against the Georgia Bulldogs. Now for Ronnie Brown, Paul Ellen, Jason Campbell, voice of the Tigers, Andy Burcham, I'm Brad Law. We have one more 2-minute drill coming up next. We'll check scores. We thank you for listening to the Tiger Tailgate Show. It continues in a moment.
Thinking of medical school? Edward Via College of Osteopathic Medicine in Auburn has award-winning medical education and research programs. VCOM partners with Auburn University for student activities.